Welcome to the Mystic Media channel. I'm your host, Rabina Rockdivine, aka the Realist Astrologer, and I am doing Saturn and Capricorn through the houses. So if you know what time you were born, you'll know, how your houses line up. So you'll know what house that Saturn will be transiting. And Saturn might be transiting more than one house. So like for me, for instance, Saturn, when it enters Capricorn, it's going to be in my 12th house first, and then it's going to move into my first house. So my 12th and first houses are going to be given special focus with respect to Saturn. So more than one house could apply to you. So basically, I've come up with some key phrases, some key words that could point to manifestations of Saturn transiting your house. So in particular, I'm going to go from the first house through the sixth for this video, and then I'm going to produce another video where I'm going to talk about the 7th house through the 12th, Saturn and Capricorn transits. So depending on the aspects that Saturn is going to form to your natal planets, Saturn can either be a blessing or a curse. A lot of times it's going to teach you some lessons. Some of these lessons may be very hard. So just know that Saturn really doesn't have that sensitivity. Saturn really isn't warm. Saturn is basically just very matter of fact when it comes to things that have to be done, things that you need to learn. And Saturn can also bring karmic issues as well, or karmic circumstances. So let's get started with Saturn and Capricorn in the first house. So this is going to pertain to me. Increase in recognition, increase in ambition or new ambition, attaining VIP status, personal achievement, professional development, entrepreneurship, or you could say full-fledged entrepreneurship, coming into your own in terms of like your business. Your reputation precedes you, full self-sufficiency, being in high demand, being more disciplined, assuming more responsibility. You're on your way to the top. Slimming down, losing weight. Problems with your skin, teeth, bones, knees, joints. Improvement in status. Being heavily scrutinized. Publicity. You might receive some publicity. Actually, let me back up. Because when I talked about the skin, so I'm a Capricorn rising. And I've always had like basically nice blemish free skin up until Pluto entered my first house. So ever since Pluto has been in my first house, my skin has been wrecked. Like I have issues with like dry skin patches. I have issues with breakouts and all that stuff. But before, like my skin was like flawless. And I even had this makeup artist even was like, "Oh my God, your skin is just so beautiful." Now, no. Pluto will wreck your skin when it's in the first house in Capricorn. Let me tell you. So with Saturn in Capricorn, hopefully it'll be a little bit better for me because Saturn rules Capricorn. So that's actually a good thing. So maybe I can get my skin issues under control with Saturn entering my first house. So yeah, I might actually start going to an esthetician when Saturn enters my first house. So yeah, that might be a New Year's resolution. So okay, I digress. Moving along. So I said being heavily scrutinized, receiving publicity or more publicity, facing skeptics and detractors head on, acquiring an official title, showing improving, connecting with people in the upper echelons of society, an official name change, at risk of falling flat on your face. So that could be literally or figuratively. So Saturn and Capricorn deals with falling down. So that could either be figuratively, so like a fall from grace, or it could be literally like you actually fall down and hurt yourself. So whoever is going to experience Saturn and Capricorn in the first house, you gotta be a little more cautious, especially if you are physically active, because you could take a dive. Saturn in the second house. A need to examine your values. Loss of money, income, or possessions. A need to tighten your purse strings. A need to be more disciplined in your spending. A period of scarcity, insecurity, or where you become more stingy. Hits to your self-esteem. A need to be more financially self-sufficient. Acquiring an antique or vintage item. An inability to derive satisfaction from your usual pleasures. Feeling undervalued, especially at work. Being underpaid, being exploited. Putting a lot of money into a business. You could receive severance pay or disability income, so you could get approved for SSI, SSDI, and you could receive that lump sum check while Saturn's in Capricorn in your second house. Also, acquisition of property, receiving dividends. So if you have stock, you could be receiving some nice dividends with Saturn and Capricorn in your second house. Having to be the sole breadwinner for a while. IRS garnishment, liens, and levies. And that's because Saturn and Capricorn deal with the government. Conflicts of interest where your values or standards are concerned. Being asked to compromise your values or standards. And this could be at work. Be on the lookout for opportunities. So, somebody could be trying to get you to join them on some type of business deal or something like that, but it might just be in their best interest, not yours. A need to save money for a future event. And while Saturn's in your second house, you could develop a stiff neck at times, or your upper shoulders could be real stiff, and you run the risk of choking on something. Third house. Business ideas, business plans, entering into a long-term contract, car problems, transportation issues, submitting a proposal, so that could be like a business proposal, acquiring professional credentials, getting licensed, a writing project, usually long-term, a major test or examination, or you might have to go through a series of tests, bouts of depression, loneliness, cynicism, pessimism. You might receive some sobering news here and there while Saturn's in your third house. Unfinished business arises. Returning to your old neighborhood. Running into or hearing from people from your past. Being very concerned about your future. So also people from your past, so it could be people you went to school with. You could be attending a high school reunion while Saturn's in Capricorn in your third house. Issues and discussions can no longer be put off. So if there's been things that have been bothering you, but you've been, just putting it off, with Saturn and Capricorn in your third house, you will feel compelled to speak your mind. And people might be like, calling you to the floor a lot as well, pulling you up on stuff. Upward mobility. Being given access to a company car. Time is of the essence. Issues with your arms, hands, especially like in terms of your skin or the joints, so you could develop carpal tunnel syndrome while Saturn's in your third house. Be mindful of your tone and delivery when you're communicating with others, because you could come across as too authoritative, too negative, or parental. You could be dealing with some tests in the area of your siblings, relatives, and neighbors, but also your boss, and you may have to put in some calls to a government agency to handle some type of government matter. And the pace of your life might slow down, and you may be subject to a lot of delays, especially in travel. Fourth house. Leaving the nest, or having an empty nest. Distancing yourself from some of your family members. Your past comes back to haunt you. Ability to work from home or telecommuting. Launching an at-home business. Starting a career in real estate or landing a major sale if you're already in real estate. A short sale or share sale of your home. Acquiring investment property. Becoming a landlord. A need to obtain building permits. So if you're remodeling a home or whatever, you might need to obtain some building permits. And if Saturn is forming a challenging aspect to a planet in your natal, you could run into some challenges with the permits, or you could get denied. A need to downsize in terms of housing. A need to visit or attend to a parent or other family member more often. Discovering hidden family history. Taking an extended leave. So this could be an extended leave from work. A permanent change in residence, or you could be just yearning for a permanent change in residence. So where you're currently living could really start to get on your nerves. An extended stay away from home. So that could be work related. Relocating for better career opportunities. Cases of discrimination. Being approved for government housing. So that could be HUD or Section 8. Saturn and Capricorn in the 5th house. A need to become more distinguished on a professional level. Denying yourself certain pleasures. An old lover returns. Sex becomes an ambition that may be hard to fulfill. Pining for an old lover. So you know that whole, I can't stop loving you. I can't help myself. You know, that to me, that is so Capricorn. So Saturn and Capricorn in the 5th house, you might be pining for an old lover, and it might be very hard to get over this person. Time to allow your children to become more self-sufficient. A need to become more of a disciplinarian with respect to your children. You might experience some tests where children and lovers are concerned. A business or job that showcases your creative talents. Your free will is largely curtailed. And this could be because you have more hours at work or whatever like that. Taking calculated risk. And these calculated risks could pay off if Saturn forms, say, like a trine to Venus. Long-term investments. Your biological clock is ticking something crazy. So you might have a strong ambition to get pregnant while Saturn's in Capricorn in your 5th house. You could have a little Benjamin Button baby. So you know those babies that come out looking all old, looking like they're 80 years old. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen babies like that. No, I'm just playing. So, you know, I had to add some comic relief up in here. So, but you could have a pregnancy at the late stages of fertility. So sometimes with Capricorn on your 5th house, you could have children later in life. So you could end up getting pregnant with Saturn and Capricorn in your 5th house, especially if getting pregnant is an ambition of yours. So it could happen during this time. So between now and 2020, March 2020. And also, you could have one of those situations where you end up getting pregnant to your surprise. So you could get pregnant and you could be like, damn, I didn't know I could still get pregnant. So you ladies that are like in your late 40s, early 50s, and you haven't reached full-fledged menopause yet, but Saturn's in Capricorn trans in your 5th house, you better be careful. Use protection, because you could end up getting pregnant and it could be one of those oops, like, damn, I didn't even know that I could still get pregnant. That actually happened to a second aunt of mine, my father's aunt. That happened to her. I think she had her last child. She was either in her late 40s or early 50s, and she was surprised. Okay, let me see what else. An inability to relax and enjoy life. Falling in love with a partner that deals with karmic debt or karmic circumstances. And acquiring an older lover, and in some cases it could be a sugar daddy, sugar mama. Or you could say, in more pleasant terms, a benefactor. I like that word, benefactor. Sounds so much more better. All right, Saturn and Capricorn in the 6th house. A health condition develops, especially dealing with the skin, the knees, bones, teeth, joints. Or the issue could be corrected with Saturn and Capricorn in the 6th. Mastering your craft, mentoring, enlistment in the military, boot camp, physical training, becoming a civil servant. So somebody could be completing the police academy and becoming a cop with Saturn and Capricorn in their 6th house. Time to get your act together in general. Improving time management skills, establishing a solid work routine, becoming an executive or officer, being sworn in, an important ceremony, entering a long-term training program or apprenticeship, being on a restricted diet, a job that requires you to wear a uniform or where you have to dress in more professional attire. So that might be a new thing for you with a new job. Your work is heavily scrutinized. Challenges with getting help in a timely fashion, or you may feel like you don't have any help. You might feel like, you're just on your own. Saturn and Capricorn in the 6th house will teach you to be more self-sufficient. Punctuality is critical. Undergoing a battery of tests, so this could be in relation to your health, and this could be in attempts to try to come up with a diagnosis. Constipation, consternation, and perturbation. So basically with Saturn and Capricorn in your 6th house, you could be very uptight around this time, and you could end up succumbing to stress, and that could lead to illness. So you're really going to have to loosen up from time to time, because with Saturn and Capricorn in your 6th house, you might take life too seriously, and that whole saying where it's like all work and no fun makes Jack a dull boy or whatever like that, that could really happen with Saturn and Capricorn in your 6th house. So leave a comment. Let me know what house Saturn and Capricorn is going to be transiting in your chart, house or houses. And also let me know what you have in store for Saturn and Capricorn. Hopefully everybody is going to be proactive. Hopefully you have some things in the making. Hopefully you already have some ambitions. So when Saturn is moving through Capricorn in your particular houses, these ambitions can start to unfold. So let me know what you think. I'm going to do the 7th through the 12th house within the next day or so. I'll definitely do it before Saturn enters Capricorn. And if you would like a reading, just go to my website at www.rabina.com. Peace and many blessings.